Welcome back to Split Decision. We're back for an exciting episode 39 leading up to UFC 300. We're going to recap last week.
Got one more Apex card before then.
Came back from Atlantic City, Fiorot versus Blanchfield. She dominated. That was awesome. Moving on, we're going to cover Brendan Allen versus Chris Curtis. Like he said, the last Vegas card before the legendary UFC 300. We're going to get into top 5. I think we're doing spring things. Make it fun, festive. Shout out spring. And then we're going to settle up last week, season 2, week 6 of Stakes and Takes. And we'll wrap everything up. Please like, subscribe, follow. Head to splitdecisionpod.com for all of our recent podcasts, all of our things, graphics, all the stuff we make. All right, let's go.
It's good. It's good.
Okay.
UFC Atlantic City.
Yep. It was fun. It was a good card.
Ready?
Yep.
All right, UFC Atlantic City, a main card that was marred in some controversy a few different times. A lot of eye pokes. A lot of good finishes, though. A couple questionable judges' scorecards.
And the highlight of the day has got to be the ref, Gary Copeland, right?
The highlight's got to be the ref. Yeah, from judges to refs to eye pokes. It was kind of a shit show main card.
It was the mobbiest card I've ever seen.
Very suspicious to be in Atlantic City and have
Right.
some of the things happen.
It had some very Soprano vibes to it. And, I mean, look, Copeland looked like he was in the mob.
He did.
Sure.
He gave off the vibe, as the kids say. Alex, how the prelims go? Give us a little recap of the prelims.
Prelims were great. They did a good job kicking off UFC Atlantic City. Keelan Loughran, the Don, he called in a hit on Angel Isaiah Pacheco.
Again, another good name for Atlantic City.
Right. He won by unanimous decision and finished it up with a Raul Rosa Jr. call-out, which...
Always questionable to call out a 19-year-old kid. But
yeah, he said he felt like a dick, so at least he's owning up to it, but he wants to move up the ranks, and if he's going to fight a name, that's a good name to call. Going on from there, we had Jacob Malkoun. He was on tonight against Andre Petroski, and Malkoun's hips didn't lie, stunning Petroski, finishing the fight with some ground and pound. Just like the Shakira song, you pop him, the hips don't lie. He knocked him out, put him on the ground, finished it up strong. From there, still no controversy, just a good Ottoman. The last one, Ibo Aslan, he defeated the man whose face got no pleasure, Anton Turkalj. It's Turkalj. I just don't know where the J goes. They all say Turkalj.
Turkalj?
Yeah.
Sounds right to me.
But anyway, they made it to the third before Aslan ended it with a hard right hand, rebounding off of a 2-fight skid.
So, nice way to rebound.
Dennis the Great Buzukja delivered some bad news to Connor Matthews, dominating until the third and grabbing the TKO. It's a good showing by him.
Always nice to get a finish out there.
And then we move on to Gary Copeland's best performance of the night. That was where Julio Arce was facing Herbert Burns. Starting by
Younger
getting
brother
a few
of
cup
Gilbert.
checks. Yeah, not the brother of Gilbert. Starting by getting a few cup checks, Arce dominated, then kept the fun by getting a second-round TKO. He got kicked in the balls twice and then knocked the dude out to respond to it. So you got to love that.
Little revenge. Sweet revenge.
Sweet revenge. Virna Jandiroba showed her how dangerous she is on the ground, securing multiple takedowns and hunting submissions against Loopy Godinez, earning herself the clear unanimous decision victory. It was a good performance. It was just a stopping show to Godinez. And finally, Jamall Emmers, he was up early against Nate the Train Landwehr. Nate rallied. And look, the whole fight only lasted a round. Not even the whole first round, but it was just inside, the first. Nate was down big early. He rallied hard.
Got the 50K bonus, too.
Got the 50K bonus. Ended it with a bloody brawl. Clean uppercut. Nate gets off at the right stop to give himself the bonus, the quick finish, and he earned himself a call out later on in the card.
He did, and it was a good performance by him. It's one of the performances that stood out the most, honestly. Which is, if you can do that on the prelims, it's always nice.
He is. He's a good fighter. He showed, he showed why you don't want to count him out ever, truthfully. But yeah, that was the prelims. Let's just jump straight into the main card. Because
main event.
It was just as action. I mean, the whole thing.
There was a lot going on. 2
decisions in the whole fight. I know that there were some that could have been swayed because of eye pokes or what have you.
Technically, there was 3 decisions.
Oh yeah, that's true. It did get
switched.
Weidman. Yeah, I forgot about that.
But let's move on. The main event. It was one of the decisions, and it was maybe the most impressive decision of the night. Manon Fiorot, the French woman.
She dominated
Blanchfield. Blanchfield, 24 years old, still very young, but she had all the, I don't want to say hype, but there's a lot of people talking about her, future champ and everything.
Blanchfield was poised, I believe, to come in here and at least have the ability, she didn't get knocked out. She fought well when she could get inside of range.
She had the clear advantage coming in on paper, grappling and on the ground. She could not get Fiorot on the ground, and Fiorot just kind of pieced her up.
Yeah, she stayed at range.
5 rounds.
She kept Blanchfield to no takedowns, grabbed one of her own. Which, as a wrestler, that's a slap in the face when you're the.
It was definitely like a psychological thing, you think you can take me down, I'm going to take you down.
Right.
As they say, this was pitching a shutout. She won every round.
Yep.
I think she pretty clearly won every round.
50-45 times 3.
Yeah, if you can get all, as crazy as MMA judges are, if you can get all 3 of them to agree on every round,
you're doing a good job.
You're doing something right.
So she wants a title shot.
I mean, I think that's the only fight to give her is the winner of Shevchenko-Grasso.
Right.
3, 4, whatever it is.
3. It'll be 3. And it's just kind of up in there on when they decide to tell us when it is.
Well,
we know it's going to happen.
They're doing Ultimate Fighter coaches.
Right. So we know it's going to happen. We just don't know the date.
So if you're Fiorot at this point,
you get to just take a nice long vacation.
She probably could have done that already because he beat Rose in her last fight.
Yeah.
This just put the exclamation point. Don't fight again until you get that title shot.
No, you cemented yourself as number 2. You're fighting the winner of Grasso versus Shevchenko 3. That locks it in.
And I know we don't always talk about the losers who they're going to fight next, but I think Blanchfield, just being 24 years old, still has the world in front of her.
Dude,
I think this is a good learning experience. I think a good next fight for her, possibly Amanda Ribas, also coming off a loss.
That would be a great fight.
Kind of give her confidence back to Blanchfield. Obviously, Fiorot's at the top of the division, near the top. Let Blanchfield get back a little bit, get somebody a little bit lower, get her confidence back, get her momentum back.
No, I agree. I really like that. Somebody like that at the very least. At least you're going to see an interesting fight. Win or lose for Blanchfield, it's at 24. It wouldn't count her out of another rise to the top back in the future either way. I agree that could be a very good outcome. Number 2, co-main
event,
not number 2. New Mansa, Joaquin Buckley. He capitalized on Vicente Luque's mistakes.
Yeah,
that's number 1.
Usually you would think the guy that's, even though Buckley's not, it's not like he's new.
No, right.
But you would think the guy, Vicente Luque, has more experience. He would be the one capitalizing on mistakes, but it was the exact opposite, as you said.
Buckley walked in and he was poised. He, had commanded presence, as they say.
And it seems like Buckley, he's a guy that's always been flashy, and we know he can do crazy things. I mean, his spinning knockout.
The foot kick of all time.
But it seems like he kind of found his home at 170 now, and he's kind of putting things together. He's ranked now, so...
Yeah, I mean, a ranking 11, he doesn't call people out anymore. He said that when he was calling people out and he was calling out ranked people, they were saying, man, you're not ranked, so they wouldn't even give him the time of day.
Well, you're ranked now.
He said, it's my turn. I'm not calling anybody out. He wants a sponsorship from Anheuser-Busch.
It's not bad. It's not a bad... you can't blame the man
not
for
a bad call out, if
cheddar.
any, right? So we'll take that. But like we said, he capitalized well on Vicente Luque's mistakes.
I was looking at the stats. He tripled strikes landed over Luque too.
Yeah.
He was in the 60s. Luque was in like the 20s.
Look, we've talked about it a few times, but it goes to show if you come into the cage, and I'm not a fighter, but if you come into the cage with a one-sided approach or a single, two-dimensional approach, you're not going to win.
At this point in the UFC, if you want to be successful, you have to be well-rounded.
Right. Or, stuffing a takedown.
Or Alex Pereira.
Yeah, one of the two.
But Buckley 3-0 now at 170, so definitely
so who do you
he's on
think
the
he should
rise.
fight next?
So I got a couple names for you.
I have two.
One I would really like to see, Michael
Okay.
Venom Page.
Oh, I don't have that. I think that's a little bit too high.
I mean, Michael Venom Page, they're both newly ranked guys.
It does
It
seem
would be
like
an entertaining fight.
It would be somebody that MVP would fight, because it's not like a Stephen Thompson where it'd be like a chess match.
Yeah.
Buckley has the power to get in there. It's not like a Holland where...
Another good one I like is Holland. A rematch versus Kevin Holland. They fought at 185. Holland knocked him out. They're both at 170 pretty much exclusively now. Why not fight him at 170? See, run it back.
Okay. What about Sean Brady or Jeff Neal?
I like Jeff Neal. I didn't have
Sean Brady was supposed to fight Vicente Luque on this card. He got pulled out with another injury.
Yeah,
it's like his past 2 or 3 fights have been either like staph infection or injury or something. He's had an unfortunate run. I think if he's hungry, that would be a great fight to put on. He's obviously, ready for a camp. Buckley didn't take hardly any damage. Buckley does want to be on the St. Louis card. That's what he wants.
That's where he's from.
That could be a great opportunity, for a near-ish turnaround. Give Buckley a little bit of time off to celebrate his victory, his ranking for a little while, and then a test of Sean Brady or Jeff Neal for St. Louis.
We didn't mention that I like, which would I think be best case scenario for Buckley because it's name recognition. He couldn't fight him quickly. That was Gilbert Burns.
Yeah.
Him versus Gilbert Burns, that would be one where if you go out and beat Gilbert Burns, even coming off of a loss, like
look at JDM.
That's a name to put on your resume.
JDM now is just he's a highlight.
So Buckley undefeated at welterweight.
Could fight anybody.
Has a lot of options. Things are looking up for Joaquin Buckley.
All right, next. This is where starts.
Fuckery starts.
Well, I guess for us it starts, but for the night it was like this was the heat of it. This
was like, what are we doing?
All right, so eye pokes on both sides. I think there was one to Weidman from
Bruno
Silva,
and then
there was like 3 from Weidman to Silva,
including on the finishing sequence.
Yeah, so one pretty bad one. Now on that sequence, Weidman also kind of got grazed with his own, by like a knuckle or whatever. I don't think Weidman's the guy who's going in trying to throw anything crazy illegal. There's always been some things. I think the judges...
It's just tough when...
Not the judges. The refs in this one were like just unprepared for the situation that happened over and over again. And they just kind of got flustered. And at that point...
And it's tough when you have a finish. They go to the replay. He obviously poked him and it helped assist in the finish.
But he was.
But then he still got the win. I don't think he was dominating. I think
it was in the 3rd round, and he was up 2 rounds to 1 easily, or 2 rounds to 1.
Yeah, I would say it was 2 rounds to 1, but it's just tough.
It is tough.
Tough way to lose if you're Bruno Silva. You could understand why somebody like Bruno Silva would have complaints.
Absolutely.
Because technically, even though it looked like a TKO, it ended up being, I think they call it a technical decision because they ended up going to the scorecards.
Right.
And as you said, 2 rounds to 1, pretty much. Weidman.
Man.
But if you're Weidman, if anybody deserves a break,
it's Weidman.
It's Chris Weidman, so you can't really be mad about it.
So look, you break your leg. You break your leg in half. You take 2 years to recover. Your first fight back is Brad Tavares just beating the shit out of your leg repeatedly.
Hey, Weidman had some really good leg strikes in this.
He did.
He was throwing his legs.
Look, honestly, take the controversy, the eye pokes and all that out. He looked pretty good.
Weidman did look good.
It was happy.
Nice to see.
I was nervous. He looked nervous coming into the fight. I was happy to see him win. Honestly, I don't have any like next fights or anything like that.
Me neither. I actually put his next fight. I hope he retires.
Oh, see, I put not for his next fight. That would be a good one. Is after his next fight if
No, I don't want him to fight again. I think go out on top. You got the win. You came back from the broken leg. You proved it. You're a good guy. Everybody likes you.
I don't know. Dude, the internet is like up in arms with him right now.
Well, yeah, I understand
because of how he defended it. He said, listen, I agree you got an eye poke. That's fine. He said, but if I poke you in the eye, you can't fall onto the ground as if, like, I just punched you in the face.
And also, if you just won a fight and the first thing people are saying is, like, you didn't win the fight, I would be pretty mad, too.
Right. But either way, I think he's going to take some time off at the very least. You know, Dana's not going to just let him go out and fight again. They're watching this dude, you know, because they don't want that leg to break on national TV again. But either way, let's go to another eye poke stoppage.
Another eye poke stoppage. Ruzabov versus Dumas.
Yep. Sultan Ruzabov versus Cedric Dumas.
Ruzabov with the first round KO, but as you said, an eye poke literally in the
bleeding.
Yeah, literally in the sequence. He even like asked the ref to stop it.
And as he had his, he's like, "Hey, look."
Yeah, he just gets destroyed by Ruzabov. Ruzabov, I think that's his 10th straight first round finish.
So I don't even really know what to say about that one for Ruzabov. Like,
I mean, he dominated the fight. He was better on the feet.
Stop him. The ref had no indication of stopping it, so he's like, "Well, you're not looking at me. I'm just going to tee off on you." Like,
I mean, the first rule they say it in boxing. I'm pretty sure they say it in MMA is protect yourself at all times.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can't fault Ruzabov at that point.
Just
I guess not.
Head, like cleaning that dude's clock.
But I mean, Ruzabov, he was better on the feet. He was quicker than Dumas. He was on his way. I know it was first round, but he was winning the first round. It was just unfortunate.
Right. It was unfortunate.
It takes away the whole credit of the fight if you get in the first round, just because.
Now that one was.
We're talking right now. In a couple days, it might be ruled a no contest because of how egregious
how obvious the eye poke was that caused him to stop fighting. Yeah. He called out GM3, Gerald Meerschaert.
I do like that. He said, I think he's Uzbek.
Yep.
And the last guy Meerschaert beat was Uzbek, so he said he needs to fight a real Uzbek, pretty much. Get the revenge.
That's. You know, he's an avenger for his country. That's
which
nice.
You got to respect. I like that for Ruzabov.
I would also take to kind of match up with his style. You know, Ruzabov has some submission victories. He's got some knockout victories. You know, he's we know all the foreigners.
Yeah, I mean, he's been first round finishing
threats.
Everybody.
Right. I think we give him another foreigner, Ikram Aliskerov or Andre Muniz. Either one of those. Give him somebody who can fight on the ground. So. It balances at least one aspect of the man's game. GM3 would balance him on the ground as well, but GM3 is a little bit older. I would prefer a younger guy.
I kind of like the call out by Ruzabov because he knows he can go in there.
I think he's going to get that
and
fight.
If he's safe and he doesn't get put to the ground, he can get a good. He could knock Meerschaert out.
I think so, and I think that's the
fight
he's going to get because Meerschaert just fight. You know, he didn't get beat up himself. They can kind of segue. They're on the same kind of fight timeline if you look at it. So, yeah, I agree. That'd be a great option.
All right, let's move on to
another finish.
Yeah. Another first round TKO. Nelson over Algeo?
Yeah, Bill Senor Perfecto Algeo versus Kyle the Monster Nelson. This was another good one. Underdog plus 175, I think, on this one.
But this was another one where controversial.
Yeah.
He was getting Nelson beating up Algeo on the feet.
This one, I mean, borderline controversial on this one. This is where it started.
It's just hard a first round TKO where the guy doesn't get dropped.
But he had been dropped right before that.
He was getting beat up. I agree. He was getting dominated.
And his legs he was doing the chicken dance for a solid minute.
He was chicken dancing out
all
there.
around the cage. Look, I'm not saying he should have, one more punch, the guy's going on the ground. Let it happen, sure. Let the guy drop, because Bill Algeo wanted to drop to the ground.
But don't take anything away from Nelson, though, because he dominated the fight. He was hitting him early. He was hitting him often.
Yep.
It was a very impressive performance from Nelson, the Canadian.
Bill started the fight off strong, like the aggressor as always. He was kind of confident with his style and everything, as he can tell, as he can always do. And, he performed. Kyle Nelson did what he does. He's a monster. That's why his nickname is what it is. He wants a brawl. He wants to do some damage.
Yes, overall, great performance by Nelson. First round TKO. I mean, he can never, despite the small amount of controversy, can't complain.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So let's move on to the
opener
of
the main card.
was a split decision that should not have been a split decision.
This is where the judges lost credibility.
One judge.
Yeah. The unnamed judge, because I don't remember his name. But Chidi
Jokuani versus McKee.
Versus Reese McKee. This was a good one. It was a tough fight for McKee because he couldn't get a lot going. He only had like 30 or 60, or 30 or 40 connected strikes.
Yeah, he really wasn't. He was struggling.
Yeah, he couldn't put it together. 40 total landed strikes. Should not have been a split decision, but we'll take it for the shout-out aspect of the podcast.
Yeah, I think 2 judges had it 30-27.
129.
And Jokini, how do you say his name?
Jokuani.
One had 29-28 McKee.
Yeah, which is a wild score.
It really was, because
40 total strikes doesn't win you a fight.
Jokuani had the takedown, even though McKee was trying for the takedown. He had the clinch strikes. He had the leg kicks.
Yep.
I think it was pretty clear. I could see maybe 29-28 in
Jokuani. Yeah, but definitely not anything on Reese's favor.
Yeah, definitely not anything on Reese's favor.
No call out for Jokuani here because previous to this, he wasn't in the welterweight division. He was in the middleweight division. So previous to this, he was on an 0-3 strike.
Yeah, so good way to. Both guys were actually coming on 3 fight losing streaks.
This pretty much saved Jokuani's job with this performance.
Yeah, it might have taken McKee's job.
It could have, yeah, given him the spot on the roster, which I think we have one of those matchups for this week coming.